the game gets started and I mean, literally, it's like the Mets are back. They are legitimately back. And as I was saying yesterday, they're amazing again. And that's the great part of all of this. And just watching it and watching Francisco Lindor be right in the middle of everything again offensively. And that's exactly the guy that they had signed last year, that big contract. Whatever happened last year is completely gone. And Carrasco, for the most part, pitched really well last night. So that's 4 outings really, pitched well by Mets starters. And that's exactly what, you'll hope you have going forward. So I don't know, the crowds are getting bigger. The expectations you can feel are getting more and more and more and more and more. And quite frankly, with the Yankees scuffling right now, the Mets have now passed them in overall record. The Mets are playing about as good as anybody in baseball. They're not getting thrown out on the bases. They're not making mistakes. They're playing sound, fundamental buck baseball. And it is a joy to watch. It is an absolute joy to watch. And this is exactly what we as Met fans had been hoping for when Steve Cohen took over.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about 33 games over 500, 72 and 39. I mean, these seasons don't happen with the Mets. They just don't throughout the history of the organization. Regular seasons like this do not happen. They're projected to win over 100 games. They've now got the 7-game lead on the Braves. There's no letdowns with them at all, and they really could separate themselves even more in the division coming up with more games against the Phillies and more games against the Braves. And everybody that goes out there and takes them out, even though Taijuan Walker had a crappy start the last time out, I mean, you've got confidence in every single one of them. I mean, Carlos Carrasco has been phenomenal. He's got guys waving at the slider last night. He's been winning a ton of games this year. So it's just everything about this team, other than maybe that bridge to Diaz when you need it in big games. I mean, you feel like they're just stacked.
Yeah.
You feel like there's no holes.
I have to say that over the last 4 years, right, even though I'm not an Islander fan, it was appointment watching through COVID.
Sure.
It was because they were having success and they were winning.
Nobody else was around here.
Well, no, everybody else was around here because that was the only thing going on.
No, I'm saying that no other team was.
Oh, yeah. Okay, right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Then last year for me, the New York Rangers came out of nowhere and played their asses off, and Drury made some great trades. That was great. And now finally we have, at least on our side of the ledger, a Met team that is appointment TV watching. It's great when they're winning, man. It is great when they're winning, and it's great when they actually hire legitimate guys that you can really get behind. And, and nothing against Luis Rojas or Mickey Callaway or any of those guys. They were novices. They finally got like an adult manager, and the manager, they went out and they got, what I love what they did this offseason, and you don't really truly appreciate it until you watch it starting to unfold. And it can be, and it unfolds in a lot of different ways. So the most important guy that they brought in this offseason, other than Buck Showalter, was Max Scherzer. And Max Scherzer, when he's on the mound, is a completely different animal. And everybody plays to him. He goes quick. He pitches quick. Everybody's in the game. He's a freaking bulldog on the mound. And you didn't realize that until you watch him every single game. So, but then you think about the other little bits and pieces that they added to this team and discarded some other players that had been here a couple of years, 3 or 4 years. So when you bring in like a Starling Marte, and he has a season like he's having, a Mark Canha, who's had his moments, like an Escobar, who I know has been up and down, but still a good fielder at third base and has had his moments. And you just think about those players that round out that locker room and the success that they've had since they've been here. That's one of the reasons why they have such I think a good clubhouse. Like the clubhouse was fractured last year.
Yeah, and a lot of that had to do with Francisco Lindor, which was concerning coming into this season because I said, think about the contract that he's got. He's not going anywhere. Obviously had an issue with the fans. Didn't look like he was adjusting to New York all that well. Javi Baez comes in, his buddy. We got thumbs down, and it's a mess. And I'm thinking Lindor's making him do that. Coming into the year, I'm like, I don't know what to expect from this guy. And he was terrible offensively, too. And he's turned it completely around. He looks like one of the best guys in the clubhouse. He hugs everybody. He's smiling all the time.
Well,
he's a leader.
You know what he is? He's going through the metamorphosis that your boy Edwin Diaz went through.
Sure.
Now, he wasn't as bad as Edwin Diaz was when Edwin first got here. But now both of those guys are central figures in the entire success of the team. And both of those guys now realize, on the good side of things, what it means to play here in New York. and win here in New York because they're feeling it. They're feeling it from the fans, and the fans are appreciating the effort. And, when you see Lindor's diving into home plate or diving into second base, the effort's there, the smile's there, the production is there, and the team is winning. So this is prime example of what it means, to be here in New York and be successful and be the guy that you got paid to be once you got here.
Sure, and the offensive season is really good. I mean, it's not $340 million good, but it's really good.
It's
for
top.
Lindor.
Look, I think he's third in RBIs or something.
Yeah, I mean, he hit his 20th home run last night.
Yeah, I mean, and look, all I can tell you is that there was a point in time where Giant fans couldn't stand Eli Manning. They couldn't stand him.
Yeah.
And, we started here, and it was like, get rid of him, get rid of him, get rid of him. And then out of the blue, they go to the Super Bowl, and then he becomes one of the most beloved athletes New York has ever seen. I don't know how else to put it other than you got to turn it off. You got to stop listening to all the negativity and then try to become the player that everybody knows you can be. And that's exactly what Lindor has done. That's what Edwin Diaz has done. And that's part of why this is so enjoyable watching those guys, because I know I make fun and I compare Edwin Diaz to Mariano and everything. That's just to tweak Yankee fans a little bit. But let's face it. When Edwin Diaz comes in now with the trumpets and all that other stuff, I mean,
it's become like a national sensation now.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Everybody's talking about
it's
it.
crazy.
People are filming videos of themselves running into work with the song. Maggie Gray did that yesterday, I saw, with the trumpets going as she ran into the CBS Sports Network studio. It's become like a thing.
It is.
Everywhere, not just here. I mean, people are paying attention to the Mets, and with every win, the expectations are growing, though. Because
that's what you want.
Exactly, but this is what happens, especially for a fan base that hasn't seen a ton of championships.
When you hear the players, like in the post game, like on the field interviews with like Steve Gelbs, every single one of them was like, the atmosphere is great, the atmosphere is wonderful. As an athlete, that's what you want. I mean, that's what you're trying to build to. Like, you want to play in that atmosphere. When the Rangers were playing at the Garden this year, and and the fans are standing half the game and they're screaming and yelling, or it's amazing when you're a part of something like that. And we like you said, we very rarely see it with this particular organization. But then with the other organization, the Yankees, it's always World Series or bust. And I have to say, I didn't see the game last night. I did get in here this morning and I did watch some of the highlights. And I really wanted to see exactly how Garrett Cole was going to respond.
Yeah.
And he responded.
He was great.
He responded.
He stayed in the game, went over 100 pitches. He was brilliant last night. And I always feel like he doesn't put together bad starts in a row. And I thought that he would come out and he'd be really, really good. But didn't part of you think, like, man, if the Yankees would have been able to get Luis Castillo, how much more dominant would they be? Now, I know we're going to give Frankie Montas another chance because his first start after the whole losing a family member and everything else was just a mess for him, his schedule and showing up. But, I mean, if those two guys who were battling it out yesterday were on the same team, and I know that the Mariners paid a ton to get Luis Castillo, but, I mean, we've seen him 3 times now against the Yankees, once as a member of the Reds, twice as a member of the Mariners, and the guy's been phenomenal every single time. I mean, that 1-2 punch would have been one of the best, not like Scherzer and DeGrom, but it would have been pretty damn good. Would have been the best in the American League.
Well, let's give Frankie Montas a chance. I know that Luis Castillo is a proven commodity. Without question, a proven commodity and the most sought after guy. And that's why I think Seattle jumped the gun. Like, they went before everybody else.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing too, also, we were talking about the loss of Carpenter for the Yankees. Now it's what's his name? Miguel Andr.
Yeah.
It's his turn now. Now, he was in the game last night, didn't do much, but the point being is that now he has yet another opportunity to show that he belongs here. 'Cause remember when they sent him down, how ticked off he was. I don't blame him because he was playing well when he was here last time.
I mean, he finished second in Rookie of the Year that first year he was up, only to Shohei Ohtani. That's how good he was.
Yeah, but I'm talking about this year when he was up here this year.
No, I know.
They sent him down. I think, so now Carpenter's gone. There's a chance we may not see him for the rest of the season.
A very good chance.
Right. So now it's up to him now. This is where the opportunities start to present themselves. It's the injuries, whether it be, a baseball player, NBA player, hockey player, whatever. You never know when your opportunity is going to present itself. And once again, Miguel Andr has another opportunity.
Yeah.
For all the Yankee fans out there where they're ticked off that they sent him down and they kept Joey Gallo, I think people forgot that he was still down there. When Carpenter got hurt, I was like, all right, next man up, and here comes the next man.
No, he was the forgotten man. There's no doubt about it. In years past, we've talked about this, how the Yankees have dealt with injuries has been phenomenal. They're always calling guys up, and they always have a next man up, and people are producing. This year, it has not been like that. They've been losing guys, and they've been losing games.
Well, Carpenter is the one guy that has been that way.
Well, yeah, he's been great, but the Yankees, for the most part, have been healthy this year.
Except for now Stanton, Rizzo, and then, of course, Carpenter. That's
so now you've now hit that injury patch, and they can feel it.
It's 1/3 of your lineup is out.
Yeah, I mean, they've lost 6 out of 7 now. They continue, and I never thought we'd be in a position here in early August, at August 10th, where the Mets would have a better record than the Yankees. Because, I mean, the Yankees were rolling. I mean, I know that pace that they were on was probably unrealistic. There had to be some sort of regression to the mean with them, but I mean, the surging Mets and the Yankees slipping back. I mean, the fact that they've got a better record than them now, it blows me away.
Well, it just goes to show you how long the season really is.
I know.
And it doesn't mean the Yankees can't get it back at any point, but it doesn't seem like it just seems like they're in a dull malaise right now.
Yeah.
And like I said, they're missing 1/3 of their lineup, and it's. Like last time was a hell of a baseball game. That game lasted 4 hours, and it went in 13 innings. And only 1 run was scored.
I think it ended about 4 hours ago. Yeah. It was like 2:15. I think the game ended.
I know, man, but man, you know what this is all coming down to? I mean, for both of these teams now, it comes down to October baseball. That's it. I mean, I want to enjoy the ride. That's part of it. That's part of the fun, and that's why. Met baseball is must-watch baseball now.
Yeah, and if you think about it, enjoying the ride is easier for the Mets fan because of all the terrible seasons that we've seen over the last number of years. Whereas for a Yankee fan, they always make the playoffs. They always have great regular seasons. They're always winning games. And then you become impatient, and then you have to go to the playoffs and cross your fingers. With the Mets, it's like, God, we never get this.
I can hear it now, man. I could just I don't really want to predict negativity, but man, if the Yankees don't make it,
Aaron Boone.
No, not Aaron Boone, Brian Cashman, because it's going to be Frankie Montas versus Luis Castillo.
Wow,
you know what I mean? That is going to be the crux of everything. I mean, injuries happen, and it's unfortunate what happened to the Carpenter, but that to me, that's the crux of everything, especially
Brian
after
Cashman sucks.
Well, I don't think so, but the fact that you brought up Castillo's last 3 starts, and 2 of them came against the Yankees.
Yeah, I mean, he's been unbelievable. I mean, in the way, just everything about him, he just looks like a big game pitcher. Walking off the mound and clapping. He's into it. If they would have had Cole and Castillo in that rotation, I mean, my goodness. Those 2 guys battling it out last night, you really saw what they can do in big spots, because the Mariners, I mean, they're having a great season too for them, and they really went for it because they haven't been to the playoffs since 2001. They were like, screw it, screw the prospects, we don't care, we're going to trade you 1, 3, and 5 or whatever, 3 of their top 5 prospects to go get Luis Castillo because it's that important to them.
All right, so Montas is going to be pitching Saturday at the Red Sox.
Okay,
that's his next start for the Yankees.
All right, we'll see.
And that's going to be an interesting place to be starting.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So hopefully he's got his feet back underneath him, and he can just relax, and they can work with him, and they can talk to him, and they can figure out who he is and how they're going to approach the Red Sox hitters and everything else like that. And he gets himself up off the mat, and he shows you that he's going to be a reason why they're going to win.
I mean, they absolutely need him. I mean, he is supposed to be, after this trade, the number 2 starter for the Yankees in the postseason. That's what they traded for. I mean, to me, it should be Cortez, but that's what they traded for Montas for.
I still think that they're thinking that Cortez is
just don't know. Can't
we're
trust
happy.
him.
We're happy with what he's doing. It's an amazing story, but it's just, I don't think that they're in love with the whole thing. It's like, to me. You watched Castillo and Cole pitch last night, and watching those highlights, I mean, you could see that those guys, they got gas. They're not trying to fool anybody. They can pinpoint their pitches when they're on. I don't necessarily know that that's, Cortez.
It's not, but he's effective, and he's been great for an extended period of time.
He has been, so.
Yeah, I mean, even last year, into this year. So I think it's time to trust him in the biggest moments.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.